Hey everyone, Leo with the Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our vintage teacup. I just finished putting together the beautiful teapot that comes in this bundle. I still have to glue down the finial, change the color of it a little bit, but anyway, so we have a matching teacup. Cool thing is if you're giving this as a gift, you can fill this one up, obviously. And then the teacup, obviously it's open, so it'd be like an open face sort of gift. This is the prototype. This is what we're going to put together. You can put some macaroons in there, some chocolates, whatever it may be, and present it that way. Also, a great little party favor or even a place setting for your party. But anyway, let's get going here with the actual teacup itself. We're going to start off by putting together the base, which is this piece here. It's almost mostly put together, actually. What we're going to do is we're going to put some glue on this tab here. We're going to tuck it behind this section here. And as we do that, you'll notice that this thing will kind of take on a shape. Right now it's flat. I'm going to spread that glue out to the very edge of the tab. Okay, and I'm going to take it and tuck it behind this piece here. We're going to take the piece that I'm holding in my left hand and want to nudge that up as far as it'll go without going over the little score mark area. Okay. Just go easy on the glue there, just like that. Okay. And of course, it always helps to pre-fold all of your pieces at the score marks here. I did fold them, but you can tell that there's a lot of tension there. So I'm folding them the other way to really release that tension. And when you put this down, you can see that it's kind of lifted itself up. Next, we're going to take these two pieces here. That is going to be the bottom to hide these tabs. We're going to start by gluing this to the inside, just like this. Okay, pretty simple. Just going to get that centered. And I'm going to start off by anchoring this to just one tab initially. Okay, we don't want to bring the glue up too high, because we don't want it squirting out this way, and that should be good enough there. Okay, and as you're placing that down, also just kind of jiggle it around and make sure that you do in fact have it nice and centered so that it sits on top of the rest of the tabs. Just kind of go around clockwise or counterclockwise and make sure that everything looks good. Okay, so that one is in place. I can take that and kind of fold it back. And at this point, I'm just going to take and spread glue on. I'm going to try to get all of them, but I don't think that's going to work because it's going to dry out too quick, but we'll try it. Worst case scenario, we have to apply a little extra glue from the bottom, and did not intend to do that. Let me scrape that off before it sets. There's a panel going on that anyway, so it'll mostly be hidden. Okay, just get that nice and centered. If you have to kind of pull this out a little bit, that's fine too. There we go. Very simple. Scrape that glue off. There we go. Okay, just press that down, make sure it's nice and flush. And there we go. Okay, now I'm going to cover up the bottom. I didn't like the way that this looked. Actually, you can always flip it around too to match the texture there as well. The AC cardstock, one side is textured, one side is smooth. So I'm going to put the glue on the texture side so that I can match this all up nicely. And just get that nice and centered right on the bottom. Just to cover it up. It doesn't even need to be perfect. Just kind of going around the perimeter, pressing that down, and then you can use your table to do the rest of the work. Okay, now we're going to take these panels and we're going to get them glued into place. Okay, these are all going to go like so, all the way around. I want to try to keep a nice, thin, even border all the way around. So we're going to do this a total of 8 times since there's 8 of them. And then we can move on to making the actual cup, which is pretty cool because it's almost put together for you. Not quite. Sounds like a sales pitch, but it'll go pretty easy. So yeah, this is a very cool little project. You could even just make this, your recipient can kind of leave it as a display piece, and then you can fill it with whatever you want. Obviously, the first thing, the most logical thing to fill it with would be some nice little tea bags. Maybe you can find at your local, I guess you could go to your grocery store, or if you have if you have like a little downtown area, like a main street that has like a little specialty tea or coffee shop. I know I have one right on 3rd Street in Geneva. Sells bulk coffee as well as tea. You just get whatever you want. Well, obviously, you can put coffee in here too. Who's to say what you can and can't put in here? I'm sure you guys will find a ton of different uses for it. But as far as teas go, in the morning, I like a nice, strong black tea. I said I didn't drink coffee because I get the jitters. And for some reason, tea doesn't affect me as much, so I can drink black tea all day long, and I'm fine. But I do enjoy a good herbal tea, especially at night. Obviously, I go with the chamomile. There's some of those brands that come in the boxes. One of my favorites is that Sleepy Time tea. I think it's by Celestial somethings, or something or another. But they make a really good tea that I think they kind of mix it with chamomile, valerian, and passion flower. I know when I was going through a real hard time a while back, probably about 6-7 years ago. Just had a lot of anxiety. I know I was taking what was it? Passion flower in liquid form, suspended with a little bit of alcohol. Not like, the boozing alcohol, but just in those little tinctures with a little dropper, and that really helped. Obviously a lot of anxiety comes from within for various reasons, and you got to slay those demons to completely get over it. But there sure are a lot of herbal remedies to help you kind of turn down the volume of that anxiety naturally. Passion flower being one of them. GABA, G-A-B-A. You can get that in a pill form. It's actually, I don't know what exactly it is, but I know that it slows down the firing of the neurons in your brain. So GABA is very helpful. Valerian, obviously. Magnesium, even, believe it or not. Sometimes if you have some weird anxiety and you don't think that it's linked to anything emotional, you could just be low on magnesium. I'm not a doctor, so I'm just speaking from experience. There we go. Just going around adding these little panels, and I've got one left, and then literally we just have a teacup to put together, and then this one's going to go pretty quick. So, if you're having a little tea date with your girlfriends or guy friends, you want to make something special, or even if you go out you have those little places where you can actually go out and get tea, and they make all these little delicious little pastries and little sandwiches and such. If you're invited for a birthday party, if you're inviting them there, you can make them all a little, what are they called? Those little gifts that you give out. You know what I'm talking about. Goodie bags, basically. Okay, all right, so the plate is ready to go. Now let's take a look at the actual teacup. And as I mentioned, it's all kind of together. It's all anchored to the center. And all we're gonna do is just glue some tabs down. Okay, so I just wanna show you here. Initially, this first tab is gonna curve or angle in. The next one's gonna angle out. And then this one is the bulk of it. Okay, so it's got that I'll show you here on the prototype. You can see how it angles in first and then it angles out. So as we are connecting these together, I'm gonna move some of these out of the way, make it easier to get my hands in here. I just need to make sure that we're matching up the angles here, and that will naturally just kind of create that inward angle. So let's start by anchoring this first one to the next piece here. I just want to get it anchored so that we're starting off on a good foot. Okay, just line that up and press and hold. Give that a second. Okay, and then we can peel this back to expose the next tab and get your glue on the next tab. And again, this one comes out. All you really need to do is just make sure that these angles match up, and it will naturally fall into place. Okay, press that down just like that, and then we're gonna go, and this does have a little bit of a curve to it, so we just need to make sure that we are taking this and slightly, very slightly bending it outward as we go. Okay, so I'm gonna get my glue on these tabs. I think because the top is opened up and I can really get my finger in there, I think I can probably just do all of these in one shot. Again, I mentioned this in every video, but you want to make sure that, you know, use your finger, or if you want to use a piece of paper or a brush to thin that glue out and get it nice and tacky, because it will make the process that much faster. I'm literally just pressing it once and it's holding in place. It's not completely dry, but it will. And you can see here, I'm not spending an hour on every single tab. It's literally just one push and it's good to go. Okay, now with this piece here, I just want to match that up like that. So we'll pull this back to expose it, get a little glue on there, dab that out to the very edge, tuck it back in, and just line up those two edges, just like that. And there we go. You can see how that's starting to come together. And really all we're going to do is just repeat the same process a few more times until this entire thing is built. Okay, but now luckily we already have kind of, well, this whole section is already in place, already taking its shape. So it's only going to make the rest of this process easier. The only challenging part, and I say that almost jokingly, because I don't think anything is really challenging, but when we go to close this up, that's going to be a little bit different because we're going to need to glue from the inside. But aside from that, it's pretty straightforward. I would do the bottom two tabs, the angular ones there, separately. I wouldn't try to do those all at once, just because it will you'll have a better result if you take your time with these two angular ones. Okay, but now when we get up here, we can certainly put glue on all of those and just work our way up. These folds are super handy because you can fold the paper out of the way while you go to apply your glue. Going a little bit heavier on the glue here because I've got 6 tabs here to work with, and that will prevent it from drying before I get to it. There we go, got that glue out to the very edge, and nice and easy, just go right up that curve. Follow the natural curve there. It's very subtle, but it's there. And just line that up. Again, if your glue is nice and thin, one press should be all you need to get that to stick. And I'm gonna hold that top one a little bit extra there. And there you go. Okay, so you see, once you get into the flow, this is gonna really come together. So onto the 4th section here. As I mentioned, we're gonna just do these 2 tabs separately, one at a time. I'm gonna dab that glue out to the edge, pull this up, and line it up, and press and hold. You know, because of that little angle there at the bottom, you might have to kind of you know, move it around to get it properly aligned. And I don't want you to have to worry about other tabs drying up on you while you're doing that. Because then we're just creating more work for ourselves. We'll end up having to put glue on it twice. We don't need to do that. Okay, next section, lining it up nicely, press and hold. And you can see here, we're really getting into a good flow. And that just leaves these tabs again going a little bit heavier because I am going to spread that out and I don't want it to dry. So I'm kind of putting it right on top of itself. Once you start spreading that glue out, oxygen and the air starts to hit it, and that's when it starts to really dry. But when it's sitting on top of itself, it almost creates like a little bubble, a little protective bubble so that the glue doesn't dry as quickly. Okay, and then I'm just going to go right up that little curve. Just feel it and look. Use your eyes to make sure that it's following the correct path. And last one. You can see literally it was just one little press. There we go. There we go, halfway done here. All right, so on to the next section. Again, this is going to become very redundant at this point since we've done this many times. If you want, you can pause me, go at your own pace, and then you can pick up or fast forward it. When I grab these, you'll know that we're on the next section because we're going to put the panels on next. So if you're watching this, I'm curious, you know, what type of tea do you guys drink? I'm always looking for some good teas to drink. And no, I don't really collect a bunch of tea accessories. I'm just pretty, I've just got a handful of little steeping accessories. So nothing fancy. I just like to collect the tea though. I've got a whole drawer in my kitchen. It pulls out, there's a little slide out tray in one of the cabinets, and the bottom section is all tea. Top section is coffee. That's Liesl loves her coffee. I think she, being a nurse, working overnights, she definitely relies on it. Sometimes I kind of wish she would not work overnight, but that gives her time to do her classwork or her schoolwork too, which is nice because it's very quiet. A lot of patients are sleeping, and but yeah, that coffee comes in handy. Always get a pot of coffee going for her before she leaves for work, and I know that that really brightens her day. Okay, moving on to the next one here. Again, starting at the bottom, we're just going to do these one at a time. And we'll pull that up, bring it in, line it up nicely, as accurately as you can, just like that. And press and hold, give that a few seconds. We'll pull this back so we can put the glue here. Okay. And dab that out. There we go. Beautiful. Get that lined up. You'll notice that this section here has a series of slits in it, and that's for the handle, which we'll put together here in just a moment. Okay, let's pull that back, and here we go with the 6 little teeth. Spread that out to the very edge. And it just keeps everything nice and crisp looking, almost as if this was like 3D printed or something, which we know it wasn't. I think this is actually more, what's the word I'm looking for? I think it's more impressive than a 3D print because 3D printer's doing all the work. You are the 3D printer here. So as much as I'd like to embrace the 3D printing, right now it's kind of lame, I think. It definitely has its uses, and you can definitely actually, you know what? One of our dreamers who messages me here and there, Robin, she has a 3D printer, and she prints out things in 3D and then paints them, which I think is really cool. But nothing quite like getting glue all over your fingers and making something with your hands. Okay, so moving right along here to the next section. This is the one with the one that's kind of coming out as far as the angle goes. And there we go. Now you can tell here that this entire piece is trying to kind of curl in on itself. So this last section that we're about to start working on here, you may need to kind of push things out a little bit or pull things out to get it to align correctly. Just totally normal. Just want you to be aware of it. And that should do it. All right, let's get this one going here. And however you need to adjust or pull or push or tug on the paper so that it follows that curve, you want to do that. There we go. There it is. Perfect. Not a perfect world, but I mean, we are working with paper. If I could just erase these little gaps here, it would be awesome. But again, I get a little OCD with stuff sometimes. So at this point, we want to take this and we're going to take these tabs and make sure that they're tucked inside. Okay, and actually before we do that, right now, this is a little unconventional here, but I am going to put glue on these two tabs so that I don't have to peel this back later. I'm going a little bit heavier on the glue so I have more time to work with it before it dries. Obviously, we're going to need a little more time. Tuck those tabs in. Let's get this bottom piece lined up nicely. And yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a, it's going to be a little awkward at first. Just find your comfortable position. Press that tab into place and then go up to the next one. And press that one in place. Make sure you got it as lined up as accurately as possible. And just press that down. There we go. I've got a little glue situation on my finger. Take care of that. And pull that back and back to these 6 tabs again. And then we just need to close it up. After that, it's just putting on some panels. And almost done here. Probably about 75% of the way here. There we go. And just like before, just curl that up. I've got this piece that's kind of getting in the way of my hand. Just work around it. It's fine. And again, make any little adjustments that you need in order for this section to follow the curve of its neighboring piece. Perfect. All right, so now the fun begins. We're going to close this up. Now, how am I going to get glue into that little crevice there? Well, you just grab a piece of scrap paper, like this one. This is from an old cut that I had. And just throw a little bit of glue on there. Okay, and we're going to take it and just going to pop it right in there and just paint the glue right onto that tab, just like that. Okay, and you're going to get your finger in there. It's going to be a little tight. If you need to, you can also grab a dowel, find that side, and just press it down. I can definitely feel and get my finger in there just fine. Okay, so now, a couple ways of doing this. Now you can either A, continue with the little strip. Okay, and if you want, you can even take and paint some glue on the underside of the section that we're gluing the tab to. That's fine too. You don't necessarily have to put the glue on the tab. And now we'll take that tab and press it right up against the inside of that section. Here we go. So yeah, this is definitely the more challenging part of the assembly here, but everything's coming out just fine. Okay, and for this, I would definitely suggest just taking a scrap piece of paper. You could, if you want, you could fold these in from the inside, like so, and just apply your glue like that. That will actually work too. Or again, you can use the little paper method to spread that glue around, and that's fine too. I've got a little bit more glue than usual on this tab here, I can just tell. I'm gonna start at the top actually. Get that lined up. And because I used more glue, didn't have my finger on there, I can tell that some of this wants to squirt out. It's okay, just rub it off as you go if you do happen to get a little bit of glue on there. And I'm just feeling for the tabs. They're very easy to feel because they're right next to each other, so you know exactly where to find the next one. And just going down the row and pressing those tabs in place. Okay, there you go. So the little teacup is done. Now we're just going to attach the panels. There's a total of 8 of them. There's going to be one that's a little bit different because it's got the little slits cut out for the handle. All the rest are going to be exactly the same. So what we're going to do, similar to when we put together the actual structure, we're going to start off by just gluing the first 2 sections down. And I would recommend putting a little bit of glue right at the very base down to the very edge. Okay, kind of get it into its position like that, and we'll simply pop it in there. We're going to use the little score marks as guides for placement. It should fit nice and snug right in there, and then we'll just press that. You can put your hand and your fingers inside so that you can push up against them so we don't destroy the actual teacup. Then we can peel this back and throw a little bit of glue right on the panel like so, all the way out to the edge, and simply press that down up against the side. Very simple. Again, use that glue sparingly. It'll make the whole process go a lot faster. Okay, and we'll do the bottom 2 all the way down to the bottom. And I'm kind of just dropping it in there, trying to get it nice and centered, and making sure that the little score marked area lines up with this edge here on the actual teacup. Press that down. It's a small piece, so it should go rather quick. And then just a little bit of glue right on there, making sure that we keep this panel nice and centered. Similar to what I did with the actual teapot. Let me move this out of here real quick, I'll show you. Once I'm all done, you see this beautiful braid that I have along the rim there. I'm gonna do the same thing here so that everything coordinates nicely. Okay, moving right along. This is gonna go pretty quick. Just at this point, minus the one that has the little slit for the handle, this process is going to be pretty much repetitive and redundant. So if you want to skip ahead or pause, do this at your own pace, now's the time to do that. And when you see me grab the little handles here, you'll know we're on to the next section. There we go. And just like that. I'm almost bending this top section and giving it a little bit of an arch when I apply it so that it kind of just goes down from the bottom up so there are no gaps. Okay. And let's continue on here. And we're going to skip this section because that's the one that requires the one with the slit. So just going one at a time here. Okay, I can pop my fingers in there, push that up against the structure. Okay, we'll peel that back and apply our glue. So as I did that, as I was applying my glue, I noticed this larger little splotch of glue. I just like to thin that out just in case it tries to come squeezing out in the sides and blemishing my project. As you can see, you know, they're not perfect, but the majority of the time I completely avoid getting any glue seeping out onto surfaces that shouldn't have glue. And that is one of the reasons why the projects look so polished on the website. Everything looks nice and professionally done. And you too can achieve that. Just take your time. Okay, starting at the bottom, using the little valley there where that fold is as kind of a guide. Okay, pressing that down. There we go. We'll peel that back. Very thin amounts of glue here, all the way out to the edge. And as you can see, I'm kind of bowing it a little bit as I apply. It's actually kind of gives it a little bit of a little energy, a little force. Kind of forces it up against the contour of the shape. Okay, so we got a few more to go, and then the one with the slit for the handle, and then we'll actually put the handle together. And we do have some little panels for the inside to pretty it up. If you're not overly concerned about the aesthetic of the inside of the cup, you can totally skip it, save the paper and save the time. You don't need to put it in, but we do like to keep our projects looking professional and polished and complete. And sometimes when you have tabs that are just sticking out like that, that are completely visible, I don't know, it's just not as aesthetically pleasing. So we figured, let's clean it up and let's make it look nicer. And we've added some of those. Again, completely optional. I'll show you how they work either way, because we don't want to leave anything out. There we go. One more. Let's get our glue on these two sections. It's nice to just break things up into sections so you don't feel overwhelmed. Less chances of making a boo-boo. There we go. Kind of pushing that down. There's that one. It seems like it was a little off. Not horrible though. There we go. And we'll peel that back. And there we go. All right. Okay, let's wrap up this last one here. And all this tea crafting has kind of put me in the mood for some tea. Might have to make some tea today. No sugar in my tea either. I like to just really just taste the tea. It's almost like, it's nice because you kind of feel like you're having like, I don't know, a treat, almost like a soda or something. Something flavored without all the calories, which is always nice. I had some bad dietary habits as a kid, and I had to change that up. Okay, so again, this one has a little slit on it, so be careful, go around that slit, and it should fit perfectly right on top of those little cutouts. Bam. just like that. All right, so all that's left now is the handle. We're going to grab these two pieces and glue them together like so. We got the texture side out on both sides. We are not going to put glue on the tabs. The tabs are going to be used to anchor this to the actual teacup. And I'll show you how that works in just a moment. But first off, get your glue on the handle. Grab the other half. We're basically sandwiching the glue in between these two pieces. And just kind of use your fingers to feel and make sure that it's sitting perfectly on top of itself. You can actually flatten out these tabs. There's no glue on the tabs, so if I push down, it's not going to do anything. And now we're going to take these little panels and we're going to glue these right onto this structure here, and we're going to try to maintain a very thin but even border all the way around. So go ahead and apply your glue to this very small piece. You don't need a lot of glue on this. Okay, and let's try not to glue it to our table, first and foremost. And just get it nice and centered there, right on this piece, so you have a nice border going all the way around. And you can press that down. Perfect. We'll flip her over, get the other one in there, and then we can anchor this to the teacup. So we want to do this first because, well, another reason we wanted to add some panels inside is to hide the tabs from the handle as well, because you're going to see those on the inside, and we wanted to hide those. This thing is not centered at all. There we go. And there we go. Okay, just press that down into place. Okay, and finally, we're going to take these tabs, kind of squish them together. We're going to slide them through these little slits. Okay. And once you have them inside, just take the little tabs and separate them. Just spread them apart. Okay, just to make sure that it's in all the way. If it's not in all the way, the tabs won't spread. So you want to just kind of spread them apart so you can see the tabs there. And what we're going to do is we're going to take and put just a little dot of glue on each of the tabs on the outside, like so. Then we're going to take and press the tab up against the inside of the structure. I'm just going to do these top two here. And I'm getting kind of messy with the glue here, but that's okay. It's going to be covered up. So if you want to get messy with glue, now's the time. Okay, so we'll take these two tabs, peel them back, and just do a little drop of glue on there if you need to. Kind of thin it out with the nozzle. And we'll take it and press it up against the inside and press and hold. Just like that. And we've got two more little tabs at the bottom for the other half of the handle. A little bit of glue there. We'll take that and press it up against the side, the inside. You can also press from the outside while you're pushing from the inside so we don't warp the paper or destroy this piece. And that just leaves one more little tab. You can see that there. Take it and press it up against the inside of the teacup. Okay, so there you go. Looking beautiful. It's actually pretty much done. And on its little plate, again, I'm going to put some braid here. And then let's talk about the little panels that are going to go inside here. I'm going to have the what's it called? They have the texture side out, and basically what we're doing is just gluing these to the inside. And what I would probably do is just start with the bottom, get the bottom glued in, because we could do the same thing we did on the outside where we peel this back. Okay, so just lay this in there and push that down until you find that little valley, and then press that down up against the bottom, just like that. And I'm going to hold that in place for just a moment. Again, totally optional, because what I'm probably going to do with this is I'm going to fill it with some crinkle fill or some paper shred, whatever you want to call it, and then top that with my little treats. So the whole thing's not going to be, you know, filled with something. But if you do want to fill the whole thing, obviously, so again, you can take this now, peel it back, and apply your glue. It's okay if you miss a little section at the bottom. This is, again, more aesthetic, and it's not even in your face aesthetic. So you can get a little wonkier with the glue here. And then just take that and press it up against the side. And it should leave just a tiny little border at the top if you've got that in the correct position. Okay, and you're just going to repeat that process 7 more times to cover the inside, but that's pretty much it. So you can see, I still need to glue the finial on this, but you can see how cool those look together. But yeah, so don't forget to put these in if you plan on doing so. And that's pretty much it for this project. So hope you guys enjoyed making the teacup with me. If you did, please take a moment and visit our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell too, so that you get notifications anytime we release a video for a paid product, free product, or even some of our helpful quick tip videos and other things. And if you make this or anything from our newest bundle, I would love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Group, or you can type in this little URL that you see right about here, and it'll take you right there. So happy crafting. Get yourself some nice chamomile tea before bed tonight. You'll sleep like a baby if you haven't tried it already. For those of you that have, you know what I'm talking about. But aside from that, I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and also please consider hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section, where we have over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly videos. I look forward to crafting with you soon.